Welcome to Edley's from Scratch. I'm Will Newman, my wife Catherine. We're the founders and owners of Edley's Barbecue.
We want y'all to know just a little bit more about us and see what it's like to live in this crazy restaurant life, but also get to know our family and the Edley's family that we've grown as well.
So this is our attempt to pull back the curtain for you to get a glimpse of what it's like in the day of the life of Edley's, our team members, our guests. We hope you enjoy. We encourage feedback. You can find us all the social media networks. Let us know how we're doing and how we can be better. Thanks.
And hopefully we won't make idiots out of ourselves.
Welcome.
Thank you, Will. Nice to be here this morning.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
So I'd love to hear a little bit about your story and how you got to Nashville. Tell our guests where you're from.
I wound up in Nashville in this particular area after growing up in Smithville, Tennessee. And I was there all my life, went to Murfreesboro for college and everything. And just
Blue Raider.
Yeah, Blue Raider all the way. And after all those years in college, I think I was on the 8-year plan. Once I finished up...
You got your MD?
No. Just a bachelor's. It took me 8 years, but once I was done with that, I came into Nashville because I just liked the excitement of the city. And growing up in a small town, it was just a new adventure for me. I wasn't married, it wasn't tied down or anything. So I wound up in this neighborhood.
Nice. So growing up in Smithville, what are the types of things you grew up eating?
I was pretty much, we never ate out, okay, so that just didn't happen, right? So it was usually, the basics, the staples, the fried chicken, it was the greens, it was the pinto beans, it was, all the basics there.
Can you remember your first barbecue memory growing up? Was there a place in Smithville that people went for barbecue, or was it just more of a thing that showed up for church functions?
It was something that people did in their backyards. I don't think there was a barbecue place within 20 miles of where I grew up. Nothing I remember there. It was usually, people made it in their backyards on the weekends, and then they'd have it through the week and church functions and that kind of thing. That's where they bring it out.
So there was a couple places growing up in McMinnville where I remember they actually dug out in their backyard and built cinder block, like little pit, and then would smoke, or smoke and grill on top of it that way. Was that something they did in Smithville?
If the technology was available, they used it, right? So you understand people that love barbecue and love to make it, as you know better than I do. It's a passion, and the technology as it grows is something they're going to either invest in or they're going to make it themselves.
Will you talk a little bit about what the Fiddler's Jamboree is?
Sure. So the Smithville Fiddler's Jamboree is usually the first weekend of July, and so this little town of like 3,000 people turns into a magic little place around the public square. You have this main stage where people are clogging.
Clogging?
Yeah.
What is clogging?
Clogging, as I understand it, is like an old Irish dance, because a lot of the people that came over the Appalachians and settled in Middle Tennessee, they were of Irish, Scottish descent.
Right.
Not all of them, but the good ones. And so anyway, they brought their own dances and traditions, and that turned into bluegrass, that turned into clogging, that turned into contra or square dancing, that kind of thing. So the Fiddler's Jamboree is just a celebration of that. So your main stage, you're going to have some of the best fiddling you've ever heard, square dancing, a lot of exciting things going on. You've got crafts and a lot of different Appalachian booths set up. So you can enjoy those around the squares. You have your lemonade and all the different things that go on there. One of the really great things about it, though, I think, is if you're just wandering around the square, the musicians that break out into little groups on the side and have their little jam sessions.
That's cool.
It's amazing. It's amazing because these people literally come out of the hills and they can throw it down like nobody's business.
One of my favorite things to stumble across in the middle of summer, as you said, July, is on public television.
Right.
It's the live feed from the Fiddler's Jamboree, and there's always some old dude announcing number 22, the fiddler from some small kid up there.
I can hear it now. When you say
they're
that.
playing. It's such a great little event.
They do. They bring the kids start really early. They'll have kids, fiddling on stage by themselves, like 4 and 5 years old. And then you got the old timers who are literally, 80 years old up there. They've been doing it all their life, and it's as natural as it could be.
Awesome. So we are in 12 South, the original Edley's location. How long have you lived in 12 South?
I moved into 12 South, I believe it was 1997. So
Wow.
I've been here 22 years.
What was 12 South like in 1997?
It was a much, much different place. It was, still a wonderful little neighborhood. But as far as the actual, commercial strip is, 12 South is, it's nothing like it is today. I mean, there was a body shop, there was a place for the kids to buy cigarettes and beer illegally, running numbers at some of the houses up and down through here.
Running numbers.
That's gambling,
Yeah,
right? So that's a nice way of putting it. And then we had, of course, corner music and forks. They've been staples here forever. But that was about it. There was a car wash.
I remember the car wash.
Yeah.
Where it's Urban Grubs.
Urban Grubs. So it's been really fun, having that small town experience of growing up and being kind of isolated. It's a wonderful, way to grow up, right? But to see this part of the city and indeed the whole city blow up the way it's blowing up right now, it's a life experience I didn't ever expect to have.
Right.
All I knew is when I got out of college and the girlfriend that I had that I loved so much, when she broke up with me, all I knew is she wanted to live close to Belmont. So I'm like, I'm going to get a house as close to Belmont as I can.
That's so good.
Make sure she knows about it. So Kim, wherever you're at, that was a genuinely great investment. I
That was
appreciate
awesome.
that. It was awesome. Yeah.
Man, if everybody had that foresight to just do that with their,
I did it
ex-girlfriend might have done and make, hundreds of $1,000s in real estate appreciation.
I did it out of spite. So
That is so good. So when do you remember when you started coming to Edley's in 12 South?
So I'll tell you a story.
Awesome.
When the place was being built, Alan Forco, Alan, one of my good friends here, we used to bring the girls down to the corners and put them on the school bus, to go to elementary school. And so I looked over here and I said, Alan, you know what they're building over there? What do you think's going in? And he said, well, it's a barbecue place. And I was like, that'll never work. And so when the place got going and everything, I would come over and I'd bring the family, but it was like we could never get in. It was, and I like to sit at the bar, as you know. So the little bar down there was always full. So I just kind of be like, kind of looks busy.
All 7 seats.
All 7 seats, right. So I would be kind of like, I'll go wander around somewhere else. But when you did the expansion, that's when I really started showing up in earnest, and I started figuring out, hey, this is a place that makes my neighborhood better, gives me a place to, relieve myself from the urban stresses that are all around us all the time.
Right.
Started showing up.
How many times, if you had to ballpark, how many times do you think you've been to Edley's?
So math isn't my thing, but let's say on average twice a week. 52 times, we're well into the upper hundreds. Yeah.
North of 500.
I would say north of 500.
North of 500. That's awesome. As far as the food menus, is there something that's your favorite go-to?
Oh yeah, sure. A lot of good stuff on the menu. The barbecue is fantastic. I love the hot chicken sandwich.
It is good.
It is very good.
Yeah, it's sneaky. People get to that really, really. You have to come. You don't get the hot chicken your first visit to Edley's because you're going to pork and brisket, which are all fantastic. But it's after a while you're like, I'm gonna try this hot chicken, and you're like, wow, this is pretty freaking good.
Then you graduate to the catfish tacos.
Catfish taco is one of my dad's favorites. Favorite drink at the bar?
So speaking of small towns, there's a brewery outside of Smithville in a town called Sparta, and it's literally on the Calf Killer River. And Calf Killer Brewery makes this wonderful grassroots beer that is about perfection. It's really a tasty beverage, whether it's winter, summer, spring, or fall.
So we were the first. So we started carrying. We were the first I think we were their first account in Nashville, probably 2012. And we've had Cap going on the grassroots since day one. Since they came to Nashville, we've had it on the entire time.
And I think I've taken responsibility for about half of that. So I do appreciate that.
You're pretty
too.
welcome.
It's hard to come by sometimes. It's gotten to be quite popular.
What is your favorite thing to make from scratch?
So I don't cook a lot. When I do a really good stir fry. It's probably out of this world. But really, when I'm thinking about making things from scratch, it's a process that sort of takes you out of the, hectic world that we kind of live in here. And it's coffee. So in the morning, I like to be kind of quiet and calm, sort of clear my head, get the cobwebs out, grind the beans, let them sit for a little bit.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Why do we let them sit?
So this is what I've heard. You let the beans sit for a little bit because the oils that are inside there, when they grind up, are able to come out. They're being released. And then when you make the coffee, it has a fuller flavor.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have to get the temperature just right. The temperature's got to be around 212 degrees because if you go 220 degrees, it creates more acidicness. Yeah. So it takes me 15-20 minutes to make my coffee from scratch. And it's French press, which is the only way to make coffee.
Only way?
Should be. But that is.
I'm not patient enough. When I wake up, I need the coffee.
Yeah, well, it's combined with that part of my day where I need to reflect and be quiet and still before I just go running out the door.
No, that's great.
That's kind of the thing. It's a ritual more so.
That's really cool. So if you could have lunch or dinner, anyone dead or alive at Edley's, who would it be?
So I thought about this one for a little bit, and it would be my dad.
Okay.
We lost my dad right about the time I was almost graduating from college, and so when I moved to the city, ever since I moved into the city, I've always wondered, what he would think about the way I live. What would he think about this? Because he, was in a small town all his life, which is a wonderful thing. But for his son to move into the city and just have this completely different lifestyle, I wonder what he would think about it. And I know that he would love this place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know he would love the food, he would love the people, and it would be, I think, a good reflection of why I kind of moved here. And he can still look out the windows and see all this other crazy stuff going on.
That's really cool. That's special. Man.
It is.
I appreciate you sharing that.
Sure.
If you were going to work a position at Edley's, what would that position be? If you're going to be an Edley's team member.
Are you offering me a job?
Yes. Yes, I am.
All right. So
when can you start?
So I can pick out a position then. I really don't have any talent for cooking. We kind of talked about that. So I wouldn't be very good back in the kitchen, I don't think. Bartending would be awesome because I love that interaction with the people, and I watch your folks back here interacting with human beings off the street. They don't have any idea where they come from. They're all over the world. They're, if someone's had a bad day or something, they manage that. It's sublime to watch them work.
They're really good.
They really are good. I can never do that. I think that food runners remind me of how a well-placed smile can change a person's day.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Just well-timed, welcome, make yourself at home. It's that kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably something I can do.
What's your craziest story while at Edley's? Do you have just a kind of a funny, wild story just of your 500 plus visits?
Nothing I really want to talk about on the internet.
We'll talk about it offline then.
Yeah, we could at that. There's a few of them, right? What I would say is some of my favorite times here is you've got this dynamic where you have, during the week, you have the neighbors come in, it's more local people. The weekend, you tend to get the bachelorette crowd, the vacation people, the husbands wandering up and down the street looking for their wives shopping, and stuff like that. And they're like, "Oh, I'm kind of thirsty," and so you get a different dynamic. One of my favorite times to come in here is Thursday because there's an overlap.
It is. It's
all the
that
people
Thursday
coming into
evening is
town.
the locals and the tourists kind of intermingle.
Exactly.
If we were to name a special after you, what item would it be?
Oh wow. Well, hot chicken sandwich is my favorite. If you were to turn up the notch on the heat a little bit, yeah, you could call that the mark.
The mark. on the mark.
Yeah, on the mark.
On the mark.
I have
Have you
to
ever?
think about that one a little more. But yeah, if you could improve on the hot chicken a little bit more spicy, I would say that'd be something I would aspire to be worthy.
Nice.
To, yeah.
Have you ever been to another Edley's location?
I have been to the one in East Nashville a couple of times, and that's been it.
I haven't made it to Lexington, Kentucky.
No. I was thinking about maybe later this afternoon.
Doing a road trip.
Yeah.
Check out the bar. If music-wise, if you only had to listen to one band for the rest of your life, what would that band be? Or person?
Yeah, so got a lot of favorites, and you want to. The thing is, if that's going to be the only music you can hear, and that's it. Some of my big favorites would have to go. They wouldn't be appropriate for that kind of thing, but widespread band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think if I could only listen to one band the rest of my life, it would be Widespread because they kind of cover the gamut,
Yeah.
and I love those guys.
So one of our most fun catering events we ever did was we catered Widespread, the band, like at Cumberland Caverns in Warren County where I'm from,
No way.
for the Bluegrass Underground.
Yeah.
So they played there, and we catered that for the crew and Widespread.
Oh wow.
And it was such a pain in the ass to do.
I bet you're in a
But
cave.
so worth it. It was so great. I mean, we had to get all the food, I think I'm trying to remember, was it 330 feet below, the surface, and we had to, truck it all the way in and set it all up.
There's no elevator.
And,
One way in.
and we got to hang out while they did their sound check beforehand, and they kicked everybody out. But since we were working,
Yeah.
we got to stay there. It was so cool. It was so cool. I'm gonna go through a few more questions. We'll do this or that. You'll pick one of the two options. I'm gonna kind of start going through that. Bar or patio?
Bar.
Brisket or pork?
Pork.
Chicken or turkey?
Chicken.
Friday or Saturday?
On Friday.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Fall would be nice too.
I don't think we'll ever have a fall again. I think we blew through that one, didn't we?
Eat at home or eat out?
Eat out.
Spicy or mild?
Spicy.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Fried pickles or fried okra?
We're gonna fight on that one. I could never pick. That's a day-to-day thing. I mean, on Tuesday it's probably fried pickles. Sunday it's probably fried okra.
Classic rock or classic country?
Classic rock.
Blues or bluegrass?
Bluegrass.
Come on, you're from Smithville.
Yeah, but blues are at the bottom of it all, right?
Right, that's true. That's true. Pop or hip hop?
Hip hop.
What would your advice be for someone who is visiting Edley's for the first time?
So if you're just coming to an Edley's location
First time.
for the first time,
Right.
so that's an easy one. Relax, kick back a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's good advice.
That's one of the great things I think about the community feel you got here, and I think it's one of the great things about the environment that you've got going. It's really built on this idea as sort of a reprieve from the hectic nature of the city we live in, and it's hard to turn that off sometimes, right? You really have to make a conscious effort to say, okay, I'm just going to slow my mind down a little bit. And this is a good place to do it. So I would say, if it's your first time coming to Edley's, you walk in, as soon as the door closes, remember, you're in a place where you can relax. You're amongst friends. You're going to have some good food, listen to some good music, have a good time. Don't be in a hurry.
Mark, I wanted to appreciate you spending some time with us and sharing stories about yourself and your time at Edley. It's very, very great to spend this time with you. And we'll see you next time on Edley's from Scratch.
One thing I wanted to say this is kind of new since you're in here. You know, I appreciate your business acumen and everything, but one of the things that I really appreciate about your friendship is the fact that you know, here in this big busy city with all these people, you know, I feel like I found someone who kind of has the same background and small town, you know, experience. And I kind of look at you and I think here's a couple of small town boys that came to the city and
That's
they
cool.
did good.
We did
okay.
good. I appreciate that. Thanks for saying that.
Sure.
I appreciate it. Awesome.